Well, if you've got to this page, it's probably because you're considering to help co-labor by translating. And in this video, I just want to give a couple things for you to think about as you continue to pray about, is it the Lord's will for me to help translate? First off, it is very important to accurately express what is being communicated in the video, as the preacher is just seeking to accurately express what is being communicated in the Bible. And so first we have to get content up in English that is in accord with the Bible. Then when we're taking that from English to another language, we've got to accurately express it in that other language. And I think about 1 Corinthians 15, where Paul says that some could even be found to be misrepresenting God. And that's one thing that is a good thing to walk in a healthy fear of when translating, realizing above all, I don't want to misrepresent God. And if the preacher is properly representing God, then my translation needs to be in accord with what he was communicating, or else I'll not just be misrepresenting him, but I'll be misrepresenting the truth that he was expounding on that is found in the Bible. And so this is a weighty thing. You know, it's one thing to be translating something in the secular world and translating, some novel of a person, but to be translating truth of preachers that are preaching the Bible. I mean, we're dealing with God here, and what is more important than that? And so I say that because there should be a healthy fear and reverence of the Lord when embarking on this. James 3 says that few should be teachers and preachers, for they will be judged with a greater strictness. And I'm not going to apply that and say few should be translators, for they will be judged with a greater strictness. But just to remember, if there's such a seriousness of someone who's teaching, what you're doing is being the mouthpiece for the teacher in the translation. That's just what someone does when they simultaneously interpret side by side. They're being that mouthpiece and communicating to that other language group. And so that's the first thing to consider. Secondly, I don't want point number one to in any way discourage someone who doesn't have a lot of experience translating from embarking in translation. Thankfully, there are other translators for multiple of the languages that we translate into who are coordinators, and they will be able to proof your work. And I've even seen a younger person start translating, and all their work was getting proofed, and over a year they really grew in their understanding of the best way to express things and accurately translate what was being said. So I don't want anyone to be discouraged and think, I don't have a lot of experience, this isn't for me. Just is something to pray about, that if the Lord is leading you to help translate, even if you don't have a lot of experience, if we have a proofer in that language, that's a good safeguard to help you and to help you grow in your ability to translate. A third thing I want you to consider is this: how is your walk with the Lord? Whether we're doing a Bible study, whether we're responding to an email through counseling, whether we're trying to go evangelize, we've got to all be walking near to the Lord. Ephesians 4:30 teaches us that we could grieve the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. And we find in Psalms 32 that after David had sinned, he remained silent and God's hands were heavy upon him. One thing you don't want to do is sign up to translate if your own walk with the Lord is not where it should be. You want to seek to walk with a clear conscience, and then say, you know what, I believe I can enter in and help translate, and I'm not just being like Martha, anxious and busy about many things, but I've already done the one thing that's necessary, like Mary in Luke 10, and I've sat at the Lord's feet. I'm walking near to Jesus Christ. That's important. When translating, when evangelizing, and anything we do, it's walking near to the Lord, because we need His help. John 15 says, apart from Him, we can't do anything. A fourth thing that is very important is, what doctrine do you believe? What do you believe about justification and regeneration? And, we've rarely had anyone wanting to translate videos who disagrees with the website. Obviously, if you disagree with truths such as the Lordship of Jesus Christ, you're not going to want to translate stuff that deals with the Lordship of Jesus Christ. But it is important. What do you believe? What do you believe about the Trinity? What do you believe about justification. And the bulk of the videos that are being translated are very focused on the gospel, not on non-essential things, say things like eschatology, but the emphasis is on the gospel. That's the main content we're wanting to be translated in most of these languages. It's not these Q&A, question and answer sessions that we need translated, but it's just Christ and Him crucified. So even if you say disagree with many of the preachers who are on the website who are continuationists, they do not believe the gifts have ceased. Well, there's also those on the site who do believe the gifts have ceased. We don't want that to be an issue that discourages someone from helping translate, because the main content we're wanting to get translated deals with the gospel, the good news of the substitutionary death of Jesus Christ to appease the wrath of God. That's really what we're emphasizing and focusing on, because that's what the Bible emphasizes and focuses on. Those other things do matter, and it is part of making disciples, but that is not our great burden, is those other things. Fifthly, what type of commitment is this? Signing up, what commitment are you making? Well, I think of Mary in Mark 14:8. Jesus said she did what she could. And that's really what many translators over these last 5 years, as we've been working with translators, have done. They've just done what they could. There are seasons where you can engage in a lot more translation, say if you're a college student during your break, and there are seasons where you cannot. And so signing up to translate, it's not, some will be able to do more than others. And this is simply, you're just committing to do what you can as the Lord leads and the Lord allows. And we know that all of our lives, there are different seasons and things change. Sixthly, I want to encourage you that a behind-the-scenes thing like translating is not a waste of time. It is not a vain task. I mean, this translating one video and getting it out there has the ability to reach millions of people, billions even, who are connected to the internet. And that is an incredible open door. And so be encouraged. This may seem like, well, this isn't, this behind the scenes, this isn't that, but that's not true. This is a big thing. You think of William Tyndale. He translated the Bible into English. He gave his life to do that, and he died. And we English speakers today can thank him for his zeal in translation work. And so the same thing with the internet. As the song says, little is much when God is in it. And we're just trying to do a little and get truth out through translations. And so be encouraged. This is a worthy task to help engage in the Great Commission of getting the gospel to the nations.